It's finally done. Okay, I'm lying, it's not actually done, but it's done enough that I was able to start it and run it. Huge thank you to my beautiful wife who painted it for me last week while I was gone. It's got a few little finishing touches that still need to be done, but please ignore my gigantic mess of a garage because it's a disaster. So this is what I've been working on for the last few weeks. Now that it's done, I can actually clean my garage up. This is my new log splitter. I've been looking at these for years while we were stuck in California, not able to do anything fun. Now that we have a really nice fireplace to heat our house with, I could justify it. This is built similar to a very high quality commercial brand. I won't say the name. It's got a 13 horse Honda GX 390 motor, 22 gallon per minute pump, Prince 5-inch cylinder, 24 inches stroke, and a 2-inch shaft. Mounted to this very massive push plate that I bought from a company called Timberwolf. I did not want to have to fabricate that myself because that's 1-inch thick steel, and my welder would be able to weld it, but my plasma cutter would not be able to cut it. So the two pieces on here that I bought that I did not build myself are this push block and this wedge. I bought the wedge, but it is modified quite a bit to actually fit my needs because it's removable. It is not welded in there because I eventually am going to build a 4-way. So it slides down in the channel. I cut a box out of this I-beam, so it slides down in that channel, and then there's a grade 8 bolt down through there that just keeps it from coming out. It really didn't even need to be grade 8. This is 1-inch thick steel also. It's got a backer plate on it for extra support. This log cradle catches the logs so they don't roll off the beam. This is my log rack. So when it splits it and the log splits in half, I'm not picking it back up off the ground. It'll catch in this cradle here. And it's removable. It literally just slides down in here and the whole thing lifts up and out. I wanted it removable so this thing didn't take up quite so much space in being stored. And here's what I'm really excited about. That is my log lift. I'll demonstrate that for you in just a second. Hydraulic log lift. So when I pull this valve right here, it's going to lift the logs up. That'll work as a work table and then lifting heavy logs, so I'm not out there struggling with lifting up big logs by myself. So this thing is major overkill for what I need for our homeowner use or whatever, but that's all right. So said it's a 20-gallon tank with 18 gallons working. I have 20 gallons of fluid in it right now, and after I cycled it through everything and filled all the lines with fluid, I'm down below what the gauge is registering, so I'm gonna have to get some more. It's actually running automatic transmission fluid because it works better in the cold and is more user-friendly, I guess, than transmission fluid. It lasts longer in these kind of pumps, they said. So put a shut-off valve right here before it goes down into the filter and then back into the tank for the return lines. So when I change this filter out, I'm not leaking all kinds of fluid everywhere, hopefully. The fluid leaves the tank right there, goes through this big hose there, back through the frame down there into the pump, From the pump, the fluid goes pressurized up here into this valve, goes through the valve. This line comes back to the return. The power beyond line here comes around into my log lift valve. Probably wonder why there's two lines coming off this one end of the cylinder. So this is the line by itself that splits your logs. These two lines are what returns the cylinder and the push plate back. There's two lines on it because I have an auto cycle valve on here, and I'll demonstrate that for you. More or less, you pull these two levers down, and this push block will extend all the way down until it gets within about 1/8 of an inch of this wedge. When it hits the end of the stroke, one of these two pops up automatically, and it returns all the way back on its own. So it's called an auto cycle valve. So the other one pops back once it gets back and you're ready to go again. You just pull it down, it'll come all the way down and back on its own. You don't have to stand here holding these valves like you do on most log splitters. Pressure gauge probably isn't necessary, but put it on there just to be safe, to make sure I don't ever over pressurize anything. So it's pretty simple. This valve uses, I guess maybe not simple, but this valve uses these two hoses to the return, and the pressure difference inside of them is what causes the cylinder to kick off at the end of the stroke. Of course, I used a Honda engine because they are the best of the best. This engine came out of the box. I started collecting pieces for this even before we left California, so I bought this engine and quite a bit of the pieces for this. Like Black Friday time last year, it's now July, because they had super sales and rebates and different things like that. So this engine has been sitting in my garage in the crate. I moved it from California with us out here, and anyhow, so it's been sitting this whole time. I put oil in it, gas, filled the hydraulics up, double checked everything. It literally started on the very first pull. Brand new out of the box, never been started before. So let's give it a little demonstration.